Hey, it's your boy Deric coming to you live from inside my kitchen, and this is another episode of Cooking Under Quarantine. This is sort of a special summer edition one, and what we're doing here is making homemade pickles. I posted the other day on social media that I had made some pickles, and I had a tremendous amount of pickle jokes coming at me, but also a lot of people asking for the recipe and, you know, how do you do it? And some of these people, what are the myths about making pickles? Is it vinegar involved? And, you know, so we hopefully cover some of that today. Full disclosure, there's probably a lot of pickle jokes going on here. Take no heed to them. They're just jokes as they come up and go. What we do today is try to make a nice garlic, salty deli pickle. Not too salty, not too garlicky, just one of those nice, crunchy pickles that you'd get at a deli if you're ordering, say, a Reuben or a ham and cheese or something like that, where they just kind of wrap it up and give it to you. I'm gonna show you guys how to make that. Now, I've been doing this for a few years myself. I've almost perfected this recipe. It obviously has to start with pickling cukes. Now, you can buy these at your local farm stands. Typically, they have them. I have seen them at Shaw's and at Walmart. The pickles come in all different sizes, as you know. No two pickles are the same, and you can see you get some big ones and some little ones, like in life, you know, there's big ones and little ones out there. So what we're gonna do today is kind of show you how we make them, go through the process of doing it. It's pretty easy. It just took me a long time to figure out exactly the right measurements to get this just right. And even after we do this, you may want to tweak it yourself just a little bit. So, obviously getting started, only thing that I did off camera that I haven't shown you today is I washed my pickles. I use basically just cold water and I throw in some vinegar in there just to kind of get any dirt off them. Vinegar is a natural antiseptic, so it's a healthy way to get the pickle clean. I mean, you want clean pickles. You need clean pickles. The pickle has to be clean. Ask any lady. And then the other thing we have here is we have 16 cups of water. So typically when I make pickles, and I hope these all fit, I haven't tried it myself. I guess I should have did that before the video to make sure these fit. If they don't, then we won't put them all in. Typically I used to do this with a restaurant 5-gallon bucket, like a paint bucket you get at Home Depot, just clean it out with a lid, and I put that in the refrigerator. But I'm not making super huge batches anymore, although people always ask me when I make these, can you bring some over, can you bring some to me, can you do this? So for those people who want to know how to make pickles, this is why we created the video. Okay, so getting started. So the first thing we're gonna do is we got the 16 cups of water. Now, we have to add pickling salt. If you can't find pickling salt, kosher salt is fine. I couldn't find any pickling salt and I didn't want to order on Amazon, so I just used kosher salt. So for every 16 cups of water, use 1 cup of salt. 1 entire cup of salt. And so the two main flavors you're gonna taste in these pickles that give it the most flavor are going to be the salt and the garlic. The salt and garlic give it the most. If you like less salt, you can cut that down to 2/3 of a cup. Again, this is plug and play. You want to see how it goes as you go. When I made the first batch early a couple weeks ago, I had to cut the salt down just a little bit. Or you add a little bit more water, depending on how it goes. You can do that during the process of making the pickles, as you finally cut into one and taste what they kind of taste like. So first we're going to do here is I'm going to try to do this all at once. I'm not going to cut this different scenes. We're just going to roll this entire video the whole way. So we have 2 heads of garlic. Again, this is from my local farm stand. These pickles here, half of them I grew, and I didn't have enough out of my garden, so I had to go to the farm stand and go buy some more. And half of them I bought. And it's funny, the lady who runs the farm stand gives me a discount if I bring her pickles after I made them, which is kind of funny. Cool thing with this garlic is you don't have to de-shell it all the way. It's good if you do. I don't really like a ton of that garlic paper, that wrapping it comes in my pickles, but it's not imperative to get it all off. I just try to get the big chunks off. And if you want it more garlicky, as you put the chunks in, you can kind of crush them a little bit. So if you guys know how to crush garlic, you just put it in the knife and just a little crush. So these two, the salt and the garlic, are going to be the main two things that you taste as you eat the pickles. All the other spices add flavor for sure, but not as much as these two. These are the meat and potatoes of the pickle world. I didn't think you guys would want to watch me wash my pickle, so I didn't put it in the video. Not this video. I told you there's gonna be a lot of pickle jokes. It's too hard not to. I just hope I don't kill myself on my camera here. I cut this garlic and cut my fingers off. Alright, here we go. And basically when I cut the garlic, I just cut the top off and I cut the bottom off. This root, geez, it is on here. Oh. That's coming from a big guy, 225 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal pushing out on this thing. Alright. Come on. Ooh. Boy, this garlic is tough today. After you do this, you're definitely going to want to wash your hands. Garlic's that one kind of flavor that just stays on you all day. They say you can rub lemon on it, and they also sell this thing that I have in the drawer. It's like a metal bar. You're supposed to rub it on your hands, and it's supposed to get rid of, somehow, get rid of the garlic scent on your hands. Honestly, every time I cut garlic, I forget that I have it. Plus, you don't want to dig through the drawers with garlic fingers because, I mean, yeah, you might find the bar and maybe it'll work. But now, all your spatulas, your big spoons, your big knives all smell like garlic. You guys can see I'm just throwing the chunks in there, even the paper that's on the garlic is still on there. Okay, there's plenty of garlic for what we need to do. If you don't like as much garlic, you might just want to do 1 clove. I like a good amount of garlic. I think it gives a lot of flavor. And the longer it sits, the more it steeps in it, the stronger it gets. So we're gonna need some bay leaves. So I'm gonna throw a good amount, like 8 bay leaves in there. And let's see what we got here. All right, so the first we gotta put in some dill seed. So dill seed, let's see here, my recipe calls for quarter tablespoon. We're doing 4, so 1 tablespoon of dill seed. Okay. We're gonna need 1 tablespoon of mustard brown, these are yellow mustard seeds. Okay. This one would be about a tablespoon, but I don't think I have enough. A little shy. Tablespoon of coriander seeds. I also supposed to put allspice in there, but I couldn't find any allspice. So I bought this. McCormick has a pickling spice, which basically has all the ingredients I put in there, but there's also allspice in here. So I'm going to do a heaping tablespoon of that one, just to make sure I get some of those allspices in there. We need some red pepper flakes. This goes by what you want to do. I would probably do 1/3 of a tablespoon. That's a lot. But I don't mind a little heat. I don't mind a little heat on my pickles. And the last thing we got to put in there is, where is she? There she is. I had everything out. Tablespoon of black peppercorns. Or whole black pepper. Alright. Once we get this in here, we're going to use our muller. If you guys don't have a muller, they sell them at TJ. I get mine at TJ Maxx. I think I paid like $12 for this one's made of stone. There's wooden ones there too. I think the only time I've ever used this muller is to make pickles. And basically what I'm trying to do here is just open up the spices to release the oils a little bit. I mean, some of these have been here from last pickling season, so their oils are probably dried up. But this is ideally what you're supposed to do with the fresh spices. Just to kind of crack those seeds and allow that to release. Remember, this is where most of the flavor is going to come from. Most of the flavor is going to be right there from the garlic and the salt, but it does come from there. Just want to stir that up. I mean, that is looking a lot like pickle juice already. So, one of the things we got to put in there, actually I forgot to take out because I'm super smart. Let's hope no one in the house threw it away, which they didn't think they had. Would make a good video. Get some dill, right? Yeah. And basically with dill, as you can see, a lot of the stems, I like to cut it pretty much halfway up. Give it a rinse. I try to keep the big stems out of there. They're gonna get in there regardless, but this is gonna add some flavor too. And it's okay if it's wet because it's going in water, right? And for me, one of the things I do every time I make pickles, except for the first time, is I take a cup of the old pickle juice, which we have here, and I put it into the new pickle juice. I always say 1 cup of it. I don't know if it's an old wives' tale. That's what you're supposed to do. I've heard that. My first batch came out fine without doing it, but I don't know if that somehow gets to a pH level or it helps bring it thick because it's already done. Then we're basically just putting our pickles in the water. And this looks like it is gonna be a lot of pickles here. Oh my God. I don't think they're all gonna fit, to be honest with you. I'm gonna try to get the big ones in. See if we can get the big one to fit. Look at this thing. Jesus. Oh man. This is already maxing out. Let me see what I got there. Okay. So it looks like I only got half of the pickles to get in there, which is okay, as long as I have enough. And then all you're gonna do with that is let it sit for 2 weeks. Now, I like to stir the pickle pot every morning. I'll go down there and I just kind of mix those spices up, especially in the very beginning. We're trying to get the flavor to kind of kick up and move around. A lot of times it settles to the bottom. It's just gonna sit in the fridge. So I put that in the beer fridge in the garage and let it sit there in the metal. It gets cold, it keeps it cold, and it constantly just kind of starts to cure them. So the pickles, let's see how I move this. So when I first thought this, and then people ask me this all the time, it's like I thought pickles were like vinegar, and how do you get them? If you want to see pickles if you see pickles like this, like the green ones, these are boiled in like a vinegar, and that's how they get the green inside. The other pickles that we have, the ones that we're making today, like this, look more, this is the last batch I just finished making. These represent more like cucumbers, right? You can see that. It's got a nice green hue on it. You hear that crunch? Oh man. Well, my kids will love this. Believe it or not, that pot was as full as that one. And adding in to go 2 weeks. So, sorry, these are good. Everyone in my office, I make them ask me to bring them to them. Some tips about your pickle. Keep it cold. Try not to touch them for the first week, at least for the first week. Stir them up every day. After the first week, 7th day, cut 1 or 2 of them open. Slice them like that. Like slice them in either 4 and quarters or 6. Let them sit for a day, maybe 2, and then try it. The hard part of this is the salt, the vinegar, and the spices has to penetrate that rind. So it usually takes 2 weeks fully to do that. And even at that time, sometimes it's not. But if you want to speed up the process, you can cut them up like I do there, and you can have them ready in 9 days versus waiting 14 or 21, depending on how long it takes to do it. So it just depends. It just depends. Like the ones like you buy at the store that are like this. I get these from Market Basket. These have probably been sitting for over a month and a half in order for it to penetrate that deep to that rind. Maybe even longer. And you have to keep them refrigerated the entire time. They cannot get warm. If they get warm, they go bad fast. So you don't want to get, you want to make, I mean, if you lose power, you lose power. But you want to keep them as cold as you can for as long as you can. And then stir the pot once a week, every day. And then at the 7th day, cut them up, let them sit, and then taste those the next day or the day after. You'll be surprised how much flavor you have in them. And I guess the reason when you taste them is because that water, if you taste the water every day, it's gonna taste salty. It's gonna taste real salty at first, and it's gonna start penetrating the pickle or the cucumber, and it's gonna start churning that, and then the pickle absorbs some of the salt. But you're gonna have a big salty flavor in there for a while, so when you wanna cut them open and let them sit for a day and then taste it and see how salty it is. If it's super salty and you're like, this is too salty, then dump some of the water out and add fresh water in there. And so when you first do this, you can use tap water, it's fine. On the 7th right there, when you're doing it, use Poland spring water. You want to use water that has not been in the tap, doesn't have chlorine or anything like that. So that is our pickle recipe for the day. I hope you guys enjoy the pickles. This is, again, one of my favorite recipes to make this summer. I hope you guys enjoy it. Any questions or comments, please leave them below. I like to answer anything I can. If you need more pickle tips, you know who to go to, the Pickle King here. I told you there'd be some pickle jokes in this. Anyways, happy summer. I'll try to make some more videos as I come up with things that I'm good at.